You think you're being responsible. You're actually building your own prison. Look at the box in the thumbnail. Gray walls, tight corners, no exits. That box isn't debt. It isn't addiction. It isn't stupidity. That box is discipline. You were told that being good with money meant cutting back, spending less, needing less. But here is the math nobody warns you about. Learning how to survive in a smaller cage doesn't make you free. It just makes the cage feel normal. Real wealth is offense. Fake wealth is defense. Offense creates money. Defense just makes losing slower. Minimalism, the way you're using it, isn't freedom. It's a system for feeling responsible while staying broke. This begins with the first lie you swallowed, the belief that progress comes from subtraction. You think getting ahead means trimming your life down, cut expenses, reduce wants, lower expectations? So every decision runs through the same filter. Do I really need this? Can I get it cheaper? What if this is a waste? Notice what you never ask. How do I earn more? How do I expand? How do I increase leverage? Because those questions feel dangerous. Cutting feels safe. Growth feels uncertain. But you cannot shrink your way to freedom. If spending less was the path to wealth, the poorest people on earth would be rich. They aren't. Because cutting costs has a ceiling. Income doesn't. You obsess over cutting a $5 latte, feeling virtuous for drinking sludge at home. Meanwhile, you ignore the $30,000 car rotting in your driveway, losing $400 a month in depreciation. You are stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. You are optimizing the 2% of your life that doesn't matter, while the 98%, your income potential, quietly atrophies. Minimalism gives you the illusion of control, while the real problem stays untouched. You aren't moving forward, you're tightening the leash. And once you accept that you need to shrink, you start valuing your own time at zero. This leads to the DIY trap. You fix everything yourself, build everything yourself, research everything yourself. You drive across town to save a few dollars and feel proud of it. Let's do the math you refuse to look at. 4 hours spent, $20 saved. You just priced your life at $5 an hour. Not your job, your life. Every hour you're alive now has the value of disposable labor. And the worst part? You feel smart. Wealthy people don't do this. Not because they're lazy, because they understand leverage. They trade money for time. You trade time for money. You exhaust yourself to feel efficient. It's the cheap boots trap. You buy the $20 shoes because they feel cheap today. They break in 3 months, so you buy them again. In 10 years, you've spent $800 on trash. The rich man buys the $200 boots once. Being cheap is expensive. But you never see the cost because you're too busy congratulating yourself for saving money today. But the math doesn't just ruin your weekends, it ruins your focus. Because when you value pennies over time, you start believing that small wins add up. You spend days optimizing grocery bills, weeks researching the cheapest option, months perfecting routines that save nothing meaningful. Your life starts to look like a project held together by duct tape. You patch problems instead of solving them. You fix the leak instead of replacing the pipe. All that energy aimed at microscopic returns. Why? Because big moves scare you. Big moves expose gaps. Big moves risk failure. Big moves don't come with guarantees. So you stay busy with tiny victories. Busy feels productive. Busy hides fear. You tell yourself you're playing the long game. You're not. You're hiding from it. And this is where you pause. You exhale. You tell yourself, okay, maybe I'm not rich, but at least I'm responsible. No debt, no chaos, no disasters. Compared to people drowning, you feel ahead. That feeling is dangerous. Because being slightly better than broke isn't success. It's just a quieter version of the same trap. You didn't escape the system. You optimized your position inside it. That relief you feel? That's complacency. And complacency is the most expensive emotion there is. And to protect yourself from the reality that you aren't growing, you build an identity shield. You tell yourself you're not materialistic. You don't need much. You're simple. It sounds noble. It sounds evolved. But strip the language away. You stopped wanting because wanting felt dangerous. Because wanting implies striving. Striving implies risk. Risk implies the possibility of loss. So you kill desire before it can disappoint you. You confuse lack of ambition with wisdom. You say, I don't need much to be happy, when what you really mean is, I'm afraid to want something I might not get. Minimalism becomes moral armor, a way to feel superior while staying stuck. You didn't transcend materialism, you retreated from competition. Quick pause. If this makes you uncomfortable, that's the point. That's the sound of the box cracking. This channel isn't here to help you feel responsible. It's here to expose why responsibility became your cage. Subscribe, not for motivation, for clarity. Back to it. But here is where the damage stops being personal and starts destroying your future. You can't contain this mindset to your house. You bring the infection to work. You become the employee who saves the company money on paper clips, but is terrified to propose $1 million project. In meetings, you stay silent, because speaking up feels like spending social capital. You shrink. You hide. You think you're being a prudent steward. Your boss sees someone with no vision. Companies don't promote people who protect the downside. They promote people who create upside. Nobody remembers who saved on office supplies. They remember who brought in revenue, leverage, momentum. By trying to be safe, you made yourself replaceable. You aren't a minimalist. You're practicing being poor, professionally. And that professional fear creates the final, quietest trap of all, the worship of stability. You chase the steady paycheck, the predictable routine, the clear ceiling. You call it maturity, but stability without growth is slow suffocation. You build your life around predictability, then act shocked when nothing changes. Minimalism trained you to value safety over expansion, so you choose paths with no upside, roles with no leverage, careers where the best-case scenario still isn't freedom. You didn't secure your future, you capped it. Here's what all of this actually buys you. A life where nothing breaks, because nothing grows. A routine that feels responsible, but hollow. A sense of control, paired with quiet resentment. You followed every rule, you did everything right, and you're still in the box. That's not bad luck, that's conditioning. Minimalism doesn't create wealth, it creates compliance. You can't save your way to freedom by starving yourself. You can't defend your way to abundance by shrinking your life. The box doesn't open from the inside. And wasting energy on pennies isn't the only way you hide. The next trap is believing a stable paycheck makes you safe. That one ruins lives quietly. Stickman out.